Hey guys, welcome to another day at Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. I guess this is going to be part 2 of the Austin Healey restoration or tune-up or get it back on the road, whatever you want to call it. So remember last time we took care of the front suspension, installing the new kingpin bushing, and that is working out fantastic. No more wobble or free play in there. Now we're moving on to the more fun stuff, getting the engine back in order. Now I already did a lot of work on the carburetors and ignition timing, so that's all set. Last part, check the cooling system. So thermostat lives right under this cover here, very easy to access. And the symptoms were, it was overheating. Well, initially it was overheating because the ignition timing was 30 degrees retarded, and the carburetors were overflowing, so it's running really rich, and most of that gas was producing heat and not usable power. So the overheating got a lot better, but still the temperature, when you're running around, there's a temperature gauge, and it gets up to 160, but then on a warm day it's 170, 180, going up a hill 190. It's all kind of all over the place, and I think it should stay closer to one fixed temperature, because the thermostat should regulate it. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna pop this cover off and see what the thermostat looks like, because I don't like the way it's the engine temperature is behaving. And you can see the fan is upgraded, high flow fan. So this guy has tried everything, apparently, to make this thing run cooler, but he hasn't had any luck. And here's what I found with the thermostat. See if you guys can see this. See that nice gap in there? Right there. Yeah, it was stuck open, of course. Now, stuck open like that, I'm assuming it didn't open up any further, so it would kind of heat up slowly, but then, well, it would overheat because the thermostat was just stuck in one position. So anyways, gotta get rid of this junk and pop in a new thermostat, stand economy from Moss Motors, so this is guaranteed to fit. Now it says 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the summer version, so it opens up a little sooner. So we got that installed. Now moving on to the oil system. Oil pump lives down here, and that's the housing. I already took the pump or the filter off. Now the initial complaint was low oil pressure. I don't know, for the last 20 years or so, especially when it's hot, it just drops off to less than 5 psi idle. And the oil pump on this thing is a gear type, and it's known to be to wear out. But taking the oil filter off, found another discovery. Seems like everything in this car it's been taken off, put on wrong, parts are missing, it's been misadjusted, molested. So here's the oil pump housing that goes onto the block, as you saw there, the 2 holes, the feed and the return. So the way this thing works, it feeds on the outer diameter of the housing. It comes around this plate. You see there's a gap there. Pressurizes this chamber, and then what's supposed to happen, here's the original filter, comes up on the outside, gets, the pressure drives it through these holes, goes through the paper element to the inside, and then it goes down the center hole and out to the bearings, and lubricate the engine. But taking this thing apart, all I found was, the center bolt holds the housing down. You see, that's just a metal cylinder. And then all that was holding the filter in there was a spring. The spring was sitting right up here, like so. So I guess it was holding the filter down. But if you have any common sense at all, you would see that the oil just comes up and goes right down the hole. So the filter you might as well not have had a filter. I mean, come on. Oh man. So I don't know for how long this thing's been running. without an oil filter, basically. And I looked up some parts online, what it's supposed to look like. And Moss Motors has some awesome exploded diagrams here. You can see we have the third one down. It's the Techilimit Late Edition. So you can see there's a spring, number 39, and what's missing is 40, 41, 42, and 43. Now 42, that's the key player here. That's a plate that prevents the oil from just bypassing the filter and going down the middle hole. And well, unfortunately, if you go down the parts list, let's see here, 42. NA, the dreaded NA, not available. And the other option is to go to this new upgraded filter housing. There's a spin-on oil filter adapter, so you can just use a regular modern spin-on filters that don't take any thought to put on. You know, if you're a brainless parts changer, a lube tech or something, you can just spin it off, spin it on. But with this thing, you actually have to put it back together in the right way and not miss any parts. So what we're going to do is try to substitute and make our own washer. So here's a little aluminum plate. What we're going to do is drill a 3/8 inch hole in the middle for the bolt to pass through, like so. And then the new filter, classic gold authentic reproduction, this is a felt type, so you can't just put a spring on here, obviously it'll just fall through. So that's going to sit on here. What we need is a plate that would, you know, keep the spring from falling inside and actually prevent oil from just bypassing the filter and going straight down. So it's going to have maybe I'll put an O-ring on there or something, and that'll just seal up, you know, like that on its own. So anyways, you know, I got this outer diameter circle drawn up with a little compass. Yeah, that's part of the toolbox, right? Never know when that will come in handy. So yeah, we just drew a circle there, and just gonna cut it out, grind it, make it look nice, and put this puppy back together. And then the last step will be to install the new oil pump, which we have sitting in the box here. So yeah, getting there. The car show is actually this evening, so I better get busy. All right, guys, see you in a bit. Well, we got the oil filter back together here. That washer that I made turned out really nicely. Actually took about a couple minutes. You know, cut it out of an aluminum sheet. So that is ready to be functional again. Now, next step is to remove the oil pan. I already have the oil drained, and change out the oil pump. Now, if you can see right down there, it's gonna be hard to focus. See that bolt? You move all the wires out of the way. Let's see, right down there with a little rubber gasket. So I put that in since this thing had a massive oil leak when it came in. And apparently what the last guy did was, well, he didn't buy the original gasket, he just put some RTV on it, and well, he didn't go all the way around that hole, so it was just pushing oil out right out of the sump. It's dripping all over the frame rail. So let's pop this huge oil pan off. It takes about 8 quarts of molasses, you know, the British standard oil viscosity. So let's do that and see what the oil pump looks like. Finally got the oil pan off here. It's a long long unit, pretty big oil capacity. Like I said before, 8 quarts. I'm just looking how dirty it is in here. And you got your, I don't know what this is, grit, old pieces of RTV. You can see this thing was done in a hurry, I guess. And then one interesting thing to note right in here, these little, I don't know, puddles of metallic dust, or looks like copper or brass or something, but that's definitely some sort of bearing material. So don't run your car without an oil filter. That's my suggestion. Oh, look at that. See, there's chunks of this paste. That's probably not good, huh? Oh well. Well, at least we found it here. Let me take you for a look under the car here. I wish I had it on the lift. Wish I had a lift. This is pretty neat. Let's see what we can see under here. I mean, if you're gonna do a show and tell, this is the car to do it on. Everything is amazingly visible. So here we got our crankshaft. Obviously, it sits on 4 main bearings. Have a better light here. See, that's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one's over there. Right down there, you see the massive metal castings. Here's our oil strainer. Looks like something you would use in your kitchen. And there's the pump that we're going to replace. See, it hooks up right there. And this pipe here, I believe, comes back from the bypass valve, so it'll just dump the excess oil right back into the pan. And here's our dipstick sticking out, minimum and maximum. So yeah, it should be a plug and play. Might have to prime the pump before starting up the car to get instant oil pressure. But yeah, that's all there is to it. You can even see the camshaft right here. See the camshaft? Pushes on the rocker arms through push rods. You can even see the pistons right there. Yeah, connecting rod, piston going right up into the block. Pretty sweet. Alright, we'll be back with the new oil pump. Well, here's the old and new oil pump. Got that off and working outside. Finally, it's a beautiful day. We've been having rain every day since, I don't know, 2 weeks now. But you know, that's a good thing. So anyways, I want to show you how the old pump looks compared to the new pump, the wear that I found. So obviously I like to compare before and after and see evidence of worn parts before replacing them. So I'm just going to show you the gears here. So here's the old pump. It's a gear type pump, and how it works is there's an oil pickup, which is, you know, the strainer. Then it goes into this tube. So this side, 3 bolt holes that bolts the strainer, and this side goes to the oil pump. And here's the second half of it. So you can see, actually goes like this. So the oil pickup, that's the top hole right here, and that goes into this cavity right here where the gears are. Now the camshaft drives the gears. I'll just imitate it with a screwdriver like that. So you can see the oil gets goes into here and then fills up these cavities between the gears and the body, and gets forced along the edge of the pump into this hole, which then obviously goes to the oil filter, and so the pressure is created right in here. Now if you notice in these gears there's a lot of slop. If you hold one gear, see how the other one moves in there? And that's what that's doing. It's actually letting oil go right in between the gears, and it's not creating enough pressure or flow, and so the pump has lost its efficiency. Also, another thing to note, if you take the gears out and look inside, there's a lot of scoring on the body, so that also makes the pump lose efficiency. Here's the old one. The new one, again, we can spin it. So, you know, it's the same style pump, but then in the gears, they are very tight. There's no free play between the gears. You know, I can hold one, try and move the other one. They are tight. So they mesh together a lot better than the old pump did. So we're gonna install this unit here and start it up, warm it up with fresh oil and a working oil filter, and just see what the pressure goes to. And we'll need to drive it around for about half an hour to actually test out if the new pump is, you know, did the trick. But I think we're in good shape here. One thing we have to do before installing the new unit is to prime it. What that means is, well, you put this end in, you know, I just got a little jug of water, or oil, not water, oil. So submerge that, spin the pump, and it should come out here, and we'll actually see if it drains back on its own. But that's how you prime an oil pump before installing it, so it's not running dry during startup. So we set our screwdriver to the correct direction, which is this way, so it's going to be pumping. Here's the intake. Spin this way, it's going to force it out of this outlet. Let's see how that works. Woo! That worked pretty nice, huh? That's it. It's primed. I think that's pretty cool. Final countdown here. This is the oil pan, cleaned out by Eric's patented brake parts cleaner from Advanced Auto Parts. He used up a whole can, my first can ever, I think. So look how clean and shiny that is. Got our OEM cork British favorite gasket, of course. And I guess that just hooks together right there. We'll put some gray goop on there just to make sure. And then we have 25 oil pan bolts, most of them original, but I found 3 that, what do they say? Focus, focus. You see what that says? Dorman! Oh no! But hey, we'll put them back in. Next shot will be with the oil pan on, and we'll fill her up with some 10W40 and start her up. Alright, cool. Got the oil pump on, the oil pan's bolted in. All we gotta do is fill it with oil. I'll put the oil filter back on too. Fill her with oil and let her rip, right? Just want to let you see, guys, how classy these old vehicles are. I mean, check out the oil cap. Cool, right? Castrol SO. What is that? Sternol? I don't even know that brand. There's Mobil Oil, Shell, Filtrate. Well, today we're going to be using Mobil Super 10W40 conventional. I don't think this car would survive in synthetic. But let's fill her up and give it a whirl. There's 5 quarts. be about 6 or 7. See if we're reading anything on the dipstick here. I mean, that's nice. Look at that. Min-max. Solid. No chintzy tinfoil dipsticks here. Alright, a little over the max, but once the filter fills up and the pump and everything, I think we'll be right on the line. Here goes nothing. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Good. Get a little choke, and we'll focus in on the oil pressure. There you go. Oil pressure's up. Very nice. Oh, it's alive. Let's go check the level and we'll take it for a spin. Right in the middle. Good enough. And as a rule, after any startup, check for leaks. Look what we got here. Thermostat housing. Yeah, it's leaking. I didn't have a gasket for it, so I tried the gray RTV sealant trick, and nope, didn't work. So we'll make one out of gasket material here. A little delay. No big deal. We'll be right back. Well, this is try number 3 for the thermostat gasket. I tried cutting out a paper gasket, and that was still leaking. Here's what we got. The actual housing, it's aluminum. It's just a little bit warped. Now it's hard to see, but if you put it on a glass sheet, you'll see that, you know, it rocks back and forth. So there's a gap right there, and on the other side, and I've been sanding it a little bit. You see the ears are shiny now, but the outer perimeter is still black and pitted. So we're going to keep sanding here. First I used 220 grit and then 320 just to even this out, so it should all be shiny all the way around. So pretty straightforward. Just put it on the glass sheet and the sandpaper and go to town. Hopefully this will fix it. After about 5 minutes, we're getting there. Shiny all the way around, a little pitting there. But right where it was leaking, up here, it's still Still not quite there. So we're gonna have to take off a little bit more material. Be right back. Alright, if it still leaks, I'm gonna quit. Flatten out the flange, reinstall the gasket, more gray goop. Got it sealed. Building a little pressure already. Rated at 7 pounds. And there's no overflow bottle, if it overflows it just dumps it. So there's a little air in here to give it a little space to expand. Alright, I think we can go for a test drive. Well, we're at the top of a mountain and our oil pressure is, well, it's more than 0. Alright, idle's about 10 to 15. So yeah, definitely an improvement. Temperature, we're not boiling yet, but we climbed 1,000 feet in about 2 minutes. And not too surprising. Here's a view of State College. Save a life, use low gear. Alright, let's take it back to the owner.